Nothing has been more heartbreaking this year than seeing the reveal of the new Saints Row.
Look how they massacred my boy.
And whilst I do like the theme of the new Saints Row, which people trash me for by the way,
I ain't gonna lie, I'm getting cooked.
there's a very good reason why the Saints Row reboot looks the way it does. And let me explain. It's quite easy to find the answer, and the answer simply is PC. Political correspondence. Wait, that doesn't sound right. Political correctness. At first, I didn't want to believe this, right? I wanted more evidence to support this wild claim, right? This company known as Volition making a PC friendly game, a family friendly game. It didn't sit right, so I needed more evidence. But now I've got the receipts, so let me show you them. First piece of evidence is Freckle Bitches, right? Whilst it's back in the new Saints Row game, it's been severely torn down. The name now simply just reads FBs, and the logo is a woman who's fully clothed and not exporting her juicy cocomelons. This is quite the opposite to the original logo, which was found in Saints Row 1 and 2, where the name is on full view as well as her juicy ripe mangoes. This was the whole joke, to overly exploit women for a business. It's just fun, it's satire. It could have potentially been a jab at Hooters, which thrives off this image, and as you know, Hooters is all about that look. So it could have potentially been a jab at Hooters, but now this has completely gone. The woman's fully clothed and the name has been shortened just so it doesn't offend anyone, because we live in an era where everyone's offended. Oh, Margaret, I'm offended. I don't know what that was, but everyone's offended on Twitter. And speaking of Twitter, let's talk about the characters. Do these characters look like they sit in Starbucks for hours on end, ordering endless amounts of cream frappuccinos, waiting for a celebrity to slip up on Twitter so they can cancel them? Yes. Yes, they do. But there's a good reason for this, right? There's a reason they look the way they do. And that's because the developers wanted to make characters more, these new characters relatable, aka safe, aka PC, aka family friendly. They wanted to create characters that don't offend people when they look at them, right? They didn't want characters to be controversial like Johnny Gat, for God's sake, or Pothead Shawnee, who looks like your stereotypical unemployed stoner in America, right? They don't want to generalize people or offend people or stereotype. Oh, and God forbid that we do that in this era. Oh God. They wanted these characters to be relatable to the general public. These characters are apparently more relatable than these characters, and whilst I can see what they are saying or what they're trying to say or what they're trying to portray, like I can't personally relate to gangbanging in the streets and trying to get out the hood, but I do recognize it as being real and genuine, and the desire to get out the hood and create a better life is raw, it's real, which makes you relate to the character to a certain degree. We all want a better life, we all want more out of life, we all want to live like the top 5%, and that's what the original Saints Row represented, whilst these new Saints Row characters have a sense of privilege, have a sense of entitlement, a group that's been spoon-fed everything in their life, a group that has been spoiled more than Veronica from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, a group that lacks a sense of struggle to get where they are now. This is not relatable in my opinion. Look-wise, I don't think they're relatable either. I don't know anyone who looks like this, apart from Google employees, but I get what they're saying though. I get what they're trying to go for. They're trying to go for this PC friendly, family friendly vibe, this family friendly look. I get what they're going for, but
This ain't it, cheap.
Are these characters safe looking and family friendly in today's society? Of course, yeah. And that's probably the reason they look the way they are, and hence why they're meant to be relatable. I keep putting this in quotations because they're not relatable, but why they may look relatable, okay? So the completely different looking characters is another piece of evidence supporting this PC statement that this game really wanted to be family friendly. It didn't want to be associated with previous games, previous iterations of the game, of the title, sorry. Whilst I don't mind the new Saints Row and I'm genuinely excited to see what it's all about and how different it is compared to the old Saints Row, that's the biggest thing that's making me want to buy this game, and probably why I'll buy this game, is I want to see how different is it. How different is it from the original Saints Row? There's an ice cream van coming. They always come at the worst time. Oh, you're not gonna continue? Okay. Can I finish? Brilliant. Thank you. Like, does the new Saints Row have that Saints Row feeling? You know, you can, even with 4, you can pick up 4 and have a sense of Saints Row feeling. Straight away, there's a choice between whether to cure cancer or help the homeless. These kind of choices and this kind of humor is what made Saints Row. So I want to see that underlying humor is there. Is the Saints Row feel there? Does it have that Saints Row feel? If it does, we'll approve it. If it doesn't, then we'll put it in the bin. But that's the main thing I'm looking forward to seeing. The developers want this game to be completely different and its own separate entity. This is evident by the lack of OG characters in the new game, as well as the complete rebranding of the new Saints Row gang and the lack of edginess which was present in the OG series. I think it's clear to see that the developers want this new Saints Row to be completely different from its predecessors and don't want it to be attached to the old series, hence the drastic changes we have seen. It's kind of like when a girl dyes their hair red and acts like they're a completely different person. Like, no Chloe, you're still a bitch. Whether you have red or black hair, you're just a hotter bitch now, right? That's the only difference. But this complete rebranding is just a way to separate itself from the original series, to kind of say, I'm not with those guys, I'm on my own. So I believe that's the reason it looks so different. And this isn't speculation, right? This isn't, oh, I'm just coming up with a conspiracy theory that, oh, Saints Row is a PC game. No, even people who work on Saints Row have come out and said this, right? So basically, this director talks about how the original tone was more suitable back then, and pretty much basically, he shouldn't really use those two words together. Pretty much basically, that's horrible English. They could get away with it back then, right? They could have get away.
Speak English! Stand there!
Basically, they could get away with it back then, right? It was a different time zone, different time frame. They could get away with a lot more stuff back then, and nowadays everyone has access to Twitter, so it's a lot riskier to try and get away with the stuff you got away with, because you're just one tweet away from being cancelled on the internet. So they could get away. It was a different time. It was a different time period. It was a different era. You could get away with a lot more stuff. People weren't easily as offended as they are now, and if you was to do half of the stuff that Saints Row did in the original games and bring it back to a new Saints Row, you would have a Saints Row game that would get cancelled quicker than anything you've ever seen in your life. So and plus, this is business, right? You've got to understand, this is business. Times have changed. What they could get away with, they no longer feel that they can get away with now, which I agree. After all, like I said, this is a business. Gaming developing is a business, and businesses these days are all about being relatable and family friendly. This can even be seen with like Deep Silver's So you can see the route that businesses are going. It's more and more clear nowadays. Businesses keep doing this Pride Month. I don't believe they're doing Pride Month for the sake of being actual, or they're happy to celebrate Pride. I think they're doing it more of a business standpoint, marketing standpoint. But that's a topic for another day. But basically, you can see with all these companies and all these businesses going to this Pride and supporting all these different events, that they're not really interested in being controversial, right? They're not interested. They would much rather be on the family friendly side than be on the freedom of speech side, because the family friendly side is a lot easier. And what I'm basically trying to say is times have changed. It's a business, and if they was to do it nowadays, the business would most likely be cancelled, and everyone would cancel Deep Silver and Volition and anyone associated with it. So I think from a business standpoint, it's very smart, but for gamers, it sucks because we don't get the game we wanted. That's it. That's why Saints Row Reboot is not a gangster game. Times have changed, number one. Everything's different nowadays. Everyone's a lot more sensitive, or woke, if you want to call them. That's the first reason. That's mainly the biggest reason. Times have changed. Two, The developers didn't want to do it. They just didn't want to make the original Saints Row or make it Gangster. They wanted to do something completely different. That's another reason it's not Gangster. And 3, businesses don't care about your feelings. They care about your money. That's another reason why. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed this video of whatever the hell this was, then like. That's all I ask. Don't subscribe to me. I don't want none of you to join me in my next video. But I'm out of here. This has been weird. This has probably been the weirdest video I've made. I don't know why. But it is. It has been. And I'm just going to go. Okay. Bye.